Hi Sag, welcome to November. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And I'm getting ready to do your reading for November. So this month, we have a full moon in Taurus on November 12th and a new moon in your sign on the 26th. Plus, Mercury goes retrograde on the 1st. Actually, it stations direct on the 31st, but then it starts moving backwards on the 1st of November. And then Neptune moves forward at the end of the month on the 27th. So let's see what the cards say for Sag. What does Sagittarius need to know about love and relationships for the month of November? What is coming up for Sag for the month of November? What does Sag need to know about love and relationships for the month of November? What does Sag need to know about love and relationships for the month of November? Okay. Queen of Cups, the Hangman, the Fool, the Eight of Wands, the Six of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, the Seven of Wands, the Temperance card, and the Four of Swords. So, starting out in the month, you have this Queen of Cups. This could be someone that you're dealing with, a water sign. Someone who's very compassionate. Someone who is very spiritual. Very intuitive. But it could also be qualities within you that you are developing this month. You're learning how to be more... how to get in touch with your emotions, how to be more compassionate, more intuitive. This is the healer, the female healer. So you're maybe like dealing with those issues in November. Feeling emotional about a relationship or about your life in general. The Hangman is here. The Hangman is a card of giving something up for something better. So you may have recently embarked on a new path because you had the Fool back here in the past. The Fool and the Eight of Wands. So this new path came up pretty suddenly because the Eight of Wands represents things moving quickly, speed. And you're on this new path. It could have been a new romance that came up suddenly, feelings developing suddenly for someone, or some new beginning in your life that's putting you in a brand new environment, because the Fool is, being in some place, doing something that you've never done before, being somewhere you've never been before. It's adventure, and you're ready. You've been ready for adventure. And you may have already set the wheels of that in motion. And I feel like there was a little bit of a sacrifice to move into this new life. Or even this new, could be even a new relationship, a brand new relationship. It could even be also career success, because the Eight of Wands represents news, messages coming in, doors opening up. So if you were stuck in a situation feeling like you were in limbo, suddenly everything kind of opens up and you had to move fast. This is quick energy, fast movement toward a new beginning. Now coming up in the future, you have the Six of Swords and the Three of Swords. So I feel like on the whole, you're moving in a good direction. Things are going to be improving in your life. You might have moved away from relationships either a relationship or situation that just wasn't serving you anymore. Because the Six of Swords is kind of like moving on, moving away from something because it's necessary. It's like you had to do it for survival. And the Hangman even is about giving something up, moving on to something better. So there's a lot of movement in this reading. A lot of cards that involve moving and having new beginnings. But you're moving on to something better. The only thing is the Three of Swords is here. So maybe at this point, now that everything is settling down, you may feel a sense of loss of what you had to cut away, what you had to leave behind. Because the Three of Swords is about, it's heartache. So for some, this new adventure has taken you away from people that you cared about. Even though you're moving into a new life or moving toward something better, there's still, you have to deal with the pain of separation from the old. And that's this Three of Swords. It represents a cutting away of what's no longer serving you. In some cases, sometimes the Three of Swords can mean minor surgery, but most of the time it's just feeling a sense of sorrow and loss. And maybe you broke up, you ended a relationship, and you're now on this new path, and you're still healing from that experience. You have the Page of Pentacles here. The Page of Pentacles is about someone who's open to the new. This is the student card. So you're learning new things. You're in a new environment, a new way of, a new path. And you're open to learning new skills. In your environment, you're having to set boundaries, having to stand up for what you believe in. So in a relationship situation, maybe you had to set some boundaries. Maybe you had to put your foot down or stand up and say, look, this is what I need, this is what I want, and I'm not going to settle for less. And this is a card of having the vantage point. You're the favored one. If there's any obstacles or any competition that you're dealing with, you have the upper hand with the Seven of Wands. She's, overcoming all the obstacles in this card. She may have to fight certain battles, but you have the high ground. You're standing in a place of safety and security, and this card also has a sense of victory about it. But the Seven is also, it's a card of transition. So you are transitioning. You're in this process of transitioning between an old way of life and a new way of life. A new adventure. You have the Temperance card here in your wish fulfillment. So this is a card of, if you're in a relationship, you could be connecting with someone that you may be very different, but you're also very compatible at the same time. But you're learning how to compromise to get what you want. You're learning that it can't be all your way or all or nothing. The Temperance is a card about balance. It's about balancing both sides and meeting someone in the middle, finding the middle ground. So it could be possibly that even though you're in a good situation, whatever you moved to, it's a good match, it's a good fit, but you're learning how to find work-life balance, or find the balance between not going to extremes in either direction. Like not spending all your time working and not leaving enough time for connecting with others, for love, for friendship. Or even the same, not getting caught up in a relationship and neglecting friends. You're finding that balance. And the outcome is the Four of Swords. So I feel like a part of you might be healing, taking time out to rest, because you've been through like a tumultuous time. A lot of change. Maybe in October or whatever the previous months leading up to November. Because I feel like the changes have already occurred. And you're now settling down and evaluating where you landed. Kind of like, okay, now I've gotten through this transition. I've fought my battles. I've moved on to where I need to go, and now I need rest. I need to rest. And that's what this card is. So you're resting in November. You're needing, to process everything that you've been through. This is a card of taking time out to heal and to rest and to bring balance back into your life. Because maybe things were out of balance for a while. And, you have some healing to do with the Three of Swords here. Dealing with past heartache, for some of you it could be a relationship that you're feeling a sense of sorrow about, something that you left behind. For others it could be some type of health issue that you're kind of overcoming. Maybe you had some minor surgery and you're recovering from it. But one thing I can say though, that this new beginning was necessary. And that you are on a better path. It's just now is the time for adjustment. Just adjusting to the new life. And getting comfortable in the new situation. So let's see what the astrology has to say. So Mercury is retrograding in your 12th house. So this could be bringing up past psychological issues, past health issues, past karmic issues. Maybe having to do with communication or misunderstandings. Maybe you're needing to clear some things up. It's also a card of, the 12th house is about releasing old karma. You're finishing up a cycle. But with Mercury retrograding through the 12th house, it's bringing that. It's rehashing the past. It's bringing it back up. Maybe there's some things, some details that you didn't finish, or some things that were left unsaid and need to be said. And so now you're going to have that chance to revisit the past and to have the final closure. I think that could be, maybe in a relationship situation. The full moon is happening in your 6th house, and it's affecting your 12th house. So this 6th and 12th house issues, it's a karmic axis. The 6th house is the house of service. It's the house of health. It's the house of, employment. So something is coming to completion, like you're settling in. Okay, this is my new situation. But you're also evaluating where you've been in the past. And I think Mercury is going to do that, going to help to do that. Pluto going into and this moon is favorable to Pluto and Saturn, mostly Pluto. It's strong. It's got a stronger connection to Pluto. It has passed the connection with Saturn. So your life is transforming. This full moon represents a culmination of, you're finishing a cycle. You've finished a major cycle, and you're clearing out. You have cleared out a lot of things from the past. And it could have affected, with Pluto going through your 2nd house, it could affect your earning ability. So this new beginning may have transformed you in a sense that it's bringing in more money. Or you're seeing yourself as more powerful, your self-esteem. It's transforming what you think of yourself, what you value. And I feel like this is kind of like a time of release. It's not so much a time of initiating new relationships. It's more of clearing out the cobwebs of the past. Coming to terms with the past and preparing for the new beginning, which is probably what's going to happen with your new moon in Sag at the end of the month. So the beginning of the month is a time of clearing out. Mars is in your 11th house, and it's sextile Jupiter. So with Mars in the 11th, you're really taking action on a dream or a goal. You might be meeting new people. The 11th house is the house of friendship. It's the house of groups, so you're maybe joining new groups. But there's a lot of activity happening in your friendship sector. And especially because Jupiter is still in your first house in Sag. You're feeling optimistic about these new groups and this action that you're taking toward a goal. But I feel like you're still processing everything that I still feel like you're healing and processing whatever you've left behind. I mean, you can't just, leave things behind and not feel anything. And that's what this Queen of Cups is. It's, I have to deal with my feelings. I can't just sweep them under the rug. I have to feel, whatever I feel, good or bad, sorrow, happiness. If I've left something behind and there's like a sense of sorrow, I have to feel it and release it. And that's what you're doing in November. But this is, it's a powerful time because you've come through some major change. And the new moon is happening in Sag, 4 degrees, on November 26th, in your first house. So it's like a rebirth for you. It's like a new beginning for you at the end of the month. It's a good time to implement any plans or to put things into motion. There could be some issues around work, some surprises, because Uranus is in your 6th house. So surprising developments could come out in a work situation or even a health situation. If you haven't been taking care of some issue, it may need to be addressed. Mars now is in the 12th house in Scorpio at this new moon. So if you have any repressed anger, if there's some frustration, it's a good time to get at it. You might be feeling depressed. Sometimes when Mars is in the 12th, because Mars represents anger and energy, and anything in the 12th house is kind of weakened because it's hidden. Planets in the 12th house, the energy is hidden. It's because it's not visible. So you may be feeling low energy. And since Mars is aggression and anger, you may feel restricted. Like, I can't express my anger. So you're steaming on the inside, or sometimes if you're either steaming on the inside because you can't express your anger, you have to bite your tongue, or you're just depressed because you're turning the anger inward. But with Uranus and Mars coming into opposition, something may trigger you to release that anger. So you want to be careful that you don't overreact. If something happens to trigger you, release the anger in a healthy way, but don't let things build up to the point where they explode. That's the danger with Uranus and Mars. It's like an explosive type energy. And coming from the 12th house, you could be reacting based on some psychological thing that you're not even, like a blind spot. Someone may just trigger you, and it's triggering really an old memory or an old pattern that has nothing to do with the current situation. So you want to look into, it's a good time to really do some psychological work and clear up whatever, needs to be cleared. And maybe have some communication. Now that Mercury's moving direct in the 12th house, if there's something that you've left unsaid that needs to be spoken, now is the time to maybe talk about it and clear it up. So that you could benefit from this beautiful new moon in Sagittarius. Pluto's still in your 2nd house. Mercury is sextile Pluto, and it's trining Neptune. So you could be working on a project behind the scenes, a writing project or some type of project that involves spirituality. Maybe you're getting ready to launch something and you've been working quietly behind the scenes because you have a lot of 12th house energy here. Mars and Mercury both in the 12th. Whatever you're doing, it's not visible. It's behind the scenes. And it's getting ready to launch, because when Mercury at the end of this month with the new moon, now Mercury's in the 12th, it would be probably better if it was out of the 12th, but it is it's trining Saturn and Pluto, so you're getting support from these heavy hitters in your second house. So whatever you're working on, it's going to bring in a sense of more money, because the second house usually rules money. But more than that, I think it's going to give you a sense of confidence and accomplishment, where you're going to feel better about yourself or feel more confident and feel more valued because of whatever this writing project is or this communication project. It's going to give you a sense of it's going to improve your self-esteem or boost it somehow. It may involve a lot of work because Saturn is involved. Saturn is always, you have to battle limitations with Saturn. You have to get through the gauntlet, But the reward is great. And, these planets are supporting you. So it's not like you're struggling uphill. You're just realizing, okay, I've got to do this work. I've got to sink in and do it. And it's a labor of love. It's not as much of a struggle. But you have to do the work. And it will reward you. Saturn rewards hard work. It may require a lot of you, but it will reward you in the end. So I think that November ends on a high note for you, Sag, because the new moon is in your sign. And also Neptune. You've had Neptune in your 12th house. Well, no, 4th house. For quite a while, and now it's going direct at the end of the month. So I think that I think your home is going to be your sanctuary at this time. You might be spending a lot of time at home, just resting, recuperating, recovering, or working on some spiritual project that either restores your health or restores your creativity or your spirituality. It's like your home is your sanctuary. And it's going to be moving forward, so you'll be getting support from Neptune. If things have been blocked at home, if you felt like confused or struggling, Neptune moving forward might help shake things up a little bit. So it'd be good to do some creative work at home, or even to just explore what's going on, in your psyche. And it may be stemming from childhood, so that would be a good thing to evaluate or to explore during this time. And clear out those cobwebs, get rid of all that baggage from the past, finish up old karma, clear the decks, and enjoy this new moon in Sag. It's like a new you, a new birth. It's a time to start. It's in your first house. It's time to start something, to recreate yourself, to have a new start. Because your first house is how you appear to the world. So, and Jupiter is still giving you, benevolent energy in the first house. At some point, it's going to move later in the year into Capricorn, and then it'll be affecting your second house. But right now, take advantage of this beautiful new moon with Jupiter in your first house. I mean, it's a great time for a new beginning. So I hope you enjoyed this forecast for the month of November. And if you'd like to have a private reading, you can click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to my website. In the meantime, I want to say thank you, everyone, for liking and subscribing to my channel. And thank you for commenting. And also, for those who've ordered readings, thank you. I really appreciate your support. If you're new, welcome. And I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope it's been a help to you. And if you're in the United States and you're celebrating Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. And also, Sag, happy birthday for those who are having early birthdays in the end of November. And just enjoy the month. And I'll talk to you next month. Okay, bye now.